The biggest and most common species of southwestern North America is the western diamondback rattlesnake. Occasionally, it can reach a length of 2 meters, and it is also known for its nervous nature. If it feels threatened, it usually stands up in a defensive position and starts to rattle loudly. This species is the perfect representative of rattlesnakes and the most well-known publicly in every area where it lives. The daily activity of rattlesnakes is mostly restricted to the early morning and late afternoon, when the temperatures are bearable for the cold-blooded reptiles. The time for hunting starts after the night comes. The mornings are chilly in the desert, so the rattlesnakes are seeking places where they can gather the heat as fast as possible. The second most common big rattlesnake species in this part of the world is the black-tailed rattlesnake. It differs a lot in its behavior from the western diamondback rattlesnake. The black-tailed rattlesnake is very calm in most situations, and it even rarely uses the rattle to produce a warning sound. The individuals living in some areas on the border of Arizona and Mexico possess a beautiful color pattern with striking black patches. Western diamondback and black-tailed rattlesnake are generalists which inhabit various different desert habitats. One other common but smaller species of rattlesnake has perfectly adapted almost exclusively to life in the rocky areas. The coloration of the speckled rattlesnake helps it to blend with the surroundings. It is quite difficult to notice the presence of the snake among the rocks. Different populations of the species have very variable colors according to the type of rock where they live. The reddish individuals belong to the most prominent ones. The smaller size helps the speckled rattlesnakes to climb up in the bushes where they wait for their prey.
लीना को पसंद आया ये ट्रेंडी लहंगा, लेकिन उसकी लाइफ में हुआ फोन का।
Vast areas of Sonoran desert are flat with terrain ranging from rocky to sandy. It is similar to the other deserts in the region, the Mojave Desert and the Chihuahuan Desert. Survival in the open habitat is very tricky for the animals because there are not enough places to hide when the temperatures are very high during the day. But even here, there are rattlesnake species which are thriving. On the first glimpse, the color of the Mojave rattlesnake may resemble a western diamondback rattlesnake. But it is smaller, usually even more nervous, and its venom is much stronger. The venom of this rattlesnake is very probably the strongest one among all rattlesnake species from the southwestern North America. The different populations of Mojave rattlesnakes have a variable amount of myotoxins and neurotoxins in their venom, and so far, the possible factors leading to that are not known. The very defensive nature of this species is probably caused by life in the open environment, where there is a higher danger from predators. Even the most harsh and hot areas have been inhabited by rattlesnakes. In fact, there is a specialist, the sidewinder. It has typical horns above its eyes, which distinguish it from other rattlesnakes in the region. This snake likes to be on the sandy soil and often digs itself under the surface. But during the day, the sand gets so hot that it could be really dangerous for a temperature-sensitive reptile. However, the sidewinder is perfectly adapted for living in this habitat. It crawls in a very unique way, sideways. Thanks to that, the whole surface of its belly is never exposed to hot sand at any one time. Therefore, the snake is not overheating. The light sandy color serves as good camouflage, and it also prevents the body of the animal from absorbing too much heat. Only one thing can reveal that sidewinder has been at a location. The special type of movement creates prints in the sand, which are very typical for this snake. The sidewinder is so specialized for living in its habitat that it can't move differently than sideways. In some areas of central and southeastern Arizona, the desert is colder and almost resembles a prairie. This habitat is perfect for a dwarf among rattlesnakes, the desert Massasauga. From an evolutionary point of view, it is so distant from other rattlesnakes belonging to the genus Crotalus that it was classified into a separate genus, Sistrurus. Snakes representing these two genera are the only ones in the world possessing a rattle. When Massasauga rattles,
तो मार्केट का हाल देखें तो कुछ एक्सपर्ट्स बोल रहे हैं कि मार्केट ऊपर जाएगा, लेकिन
it resembles the sound of crickets rather than a strong warning. This snake grows to a maximum length of only about 50 centimeters. Massasauga are shy and try to avoid contact with any big animals. Because they are so small, they don't feed only on tiny vertebrates, but also on invertebrates, especially when they are young. The adults prey mostly on small mammals. The desert Massasauga is endangered in most areas where it lives. Arizona is not an exception, and it belongs to the rarest snakes in this state. Tiger rattlesnake has a very strong venom, similar to the one of the Mojave rattlesnake. It has typically a very small head compared to the rest of its body and a striped pattern on its skin. The numbers of tiger rattlesnakes are increasing in the urban areas at the periphery of Tucson in southern Arizona. Some rattlesnakes can't live in the areas changed by human activities. The rarest rattlesnake species are living secretly somewhere in these forests and rocky canyons. The ridge-nosed rattlesnake is one of the smallest rattlesnakes, and it is rarely found in lower altitudes than 1,200 meters above sea level. The distinctive ridges along each side of its nose, which are a series of upturned scales, are unique to this species. The adults hunt small vertebrates of the forest, but the young individuals prey also on big centipedes. Several subspecies are recognized, differing in the prominence of white color on the head and living in different mountain ranges. The color pattern on the head of ridge-nosed rattlesnake is unique among rattlesnakes of southwestern North America. The survival of this vulnerable snake depends on the protection of montane forests and isolation of this habitat from mass tourism. Small rocky canyons hidden in the montane forests are a perfect habitat for even more specialized rattlesnake. Banded rock rattlesnake. It spends most of its life hidden in the holes between rocks, and on average it crawls only for a distance of 9 meters per day. Its color pattern serves as a perfect camouflage, giving it the advantage during hunting and making it difficult to find for predators. Unlike the very calm ridge-nosed rattlesnake, the nervous banded rock rattlesnake rattles loudly when it feels threatened. Living in very specific ecosystems on sky islands in the desert has forced rattlesnakes to adapt, and it resulted in the evolution of unique species. But there are not many areas so extremely tough for survival as the T.E.C. mountains in southwestern Arizona. The temperature here can go up to 50 degrees Celsius during the day. This mountain range is made up of unique, very light-colored granite rock. It is arguably one of the most difficult places to live for any animal species in southwestern North America.
Naya Domino's chicken burst. Under saucy garlic keema. Bahar de.
Any snake needs to avoid being in the sun during the extreme hot day, and then it needs to cope with a rapid temperature decrease during the night. Against all odds, a rare population of speckled rattlesnakes survives here. These snakes have unique colored scales which match the granite rocks. Apart from the albinotic individuals, there are only a few snake species in the world with such a light coloration. These speckled rattlesnakes grow to smaller sizes than their relatives from other mountain ranges because the habitat in the T.E.C. is not rich in a suitable prey. Before the night comes, the temperature drops down and snakes are preparing themselves for the hunt. They will wait, motionless, and rely on their camouflage and thermoreceptors. The end of the day in this place on the border of Arizona and Mexico has a magical atmosphere.